Okay, good afternoon. Mike Paciello with CSUN ATC TV, and this is my only session today that I have, as opposed to yesterday. I was on all day and it's exhausted last night. But wow, today we're going to talk about research and innovation. We have some of the world's leading researchers here with us this afternoon. So let me just go to the line. I know most of these folks personally, close friends, Klaus Miesenberger, Greg Vanderheiden, Takahira, and Raj. But let me have them introduce themselves to you, the audience, first. So Klaus, please, who you are, what you're with, who you're with.
Thank you, Mike. My name is Klaus Miesenberger. I'm come from Austria. I already said this is in Europe and not Australia. And yeah, my background, computer science, technology, and I started in 1989 research in assistive technology and accessibility. And in particular, besides science research teaching, I also founded and run the Support Center for Students with Disability, which gives us a very user-centered focus and allows us, so to say, to take up their ideas and develop them as co-researchers, in our activities.
Thank you, Klaus. Dr. Vanderheiden.
Greg Vanderheiden. I started in 1971, so this is my 53rd year. So I've been involved in OGCOM and computer access, and chaired WCAG 1 and 2, and co-chaired along with some other really great team members. And now working on future of interface and future access.
Excellent. And just as I might, just to interject, I have 2 or 3 mentors in my life, 40 years of being in this environment. And Greg is one of my mentors, longtime mentors and close friends, and helped me to really understand the importance of design and accessibility for users and people with disabilities. So thank you, Greg, for being here. Takahira, please.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Takahiro Miura from Japan, and I'm currently belong to the AIST Japan. This is a national institute in Japan. Currently, my research is about the assistive technology and accessibility for people with particularly the visually impaired people and the hearing impaired people. Also, I currently engaged in the volunteer activity support system for particularly the older adults without frailty, and also any kind of the young volunteers who have the caregiver licenses and so on. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Takahira. And also, Takahira and I talked earlier, close friend of Chieko Asakawa, our close friend at IBM Research and Hero. So good to have you here with us. Please, Raj, our fourth guest, introduce yourself and where you're from.
Hi, my name is Raja Kushal Nagar. The interpreters don't know how to pronounce my last name. That's okay, because I don't know how to pronounce my last name as well. So I care how it's spelled, though. So written English is my first language. I grew up before the internet, before captioning, only reading, and I am thrilled to have access to videos with automatic captionings, and hopefully in the future assigning and having life-changing technologies, and I'm looking forward to what's coming in the future.
Very good. Thank you, Raja. Good to have all of you here with us. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, certainly we're going to talk about emerging technology, assistive technology, accessible technologies. We're going to talk about artificial intelligence. We're going to talk about robotics. All of these things are on play. But maybe, gentlemen, the first question I can ask is, what do you see right now as critical areas of research where assistive technology is concerned? Klaus, can I start with you?
That's very difficult to answer because all these things you said, they are important. But I think there is still a strong need to give the end users a voice themselves. When we see the development environments, when we see the tools at hand to build assistive solutions and to implement accessibility, there is more and more the possibility to provide a personalized access, to build solutions for your own. And a strong need, perhaps not so scientific, it's more teaching oriented, is to include the service providers, the educators in this domain, so to say that much more this potential of personalization, of personalized approaches, of personalized solutions are put in place. I think this is one of actually now the most important challenges which we have.
Yeah, excellent point. And I'm thinking about, I had read a book by Ram Charan who had talked about the digital economy, and that he actually identified as personalization as the #1 area where we'd have to advance in terms of what we're doing, self-adapting systems and things along those lines. So that's a great point, Klaus.
With this, I think it's also important what we see is, of course, data are collected everywhere, but what we do not yet have are very good profiling systems of the users.
Yeah.
So to say that the data which we have would generate a profile which allows then adaptation and personalization.
Excellent, excellent. Raj, could I ask you, again, in terms of assistive technology, and maybe your specialty is in systems designed for deaf and hard of hearing users, can you give me a little bit of an idea, or give us, I'm sorry, a little bit of idea of some of the technology that you've been working on?
Currently, we're looking at generative AI and automated speech, automated signs. Oh, you bring up a very interesting challenge when we think about previously captioning accuracy. What does it mean when you can't hear what the speaker is saying? How accurate is it? Are substitutions okay? Does it fit the user's reading ability? On the flip side, if you could have sign produce speech, what would it sound like? I can't hear myself, so what I envision with an interpreter, sometimes I know this interpreter will match my personality. Now, what do you do with AI? So it brings up a new set of challenges when we're thinking of designs.
Excellent, very good. And if I could just expand on that just a little bit more, how about technologies that involve AI and audio descriptions? I know that's primarily for the blind, but still, because it's involved in video production and ensuring that audience understand everything that's going on. Have you been involved in that research, or you just focus on captioning and voice response and things along those lines? No, I'm talking to Raj, I'm sorry.
Yeah, for audio descriptions, yes, it's an interesting question. I am involved in that as well. We teach that in class. For example, like picture descriptions. What level of descriptions does the user want? An interesting number, we have a number of people in the picture. What are they doing? What do they look like? What can we prioritize? It's hard to, you can't describe everything. So how do you know what the user is interested in? There isn't a solution for that yet. And I'm welcome to have a discussion on ideas on how we can help the AI reader for the blind, the detector for low vision and blind users. What's the most important?
Good.
On the user's end.
Very good. So hold that thought, because we can come back to that as part of our discussion. Takahira, on your side, what is it that you're specifically working on, and where your research is involved?
My research is currently about, for example, the inclusive research with the visually impaired people. So at that project, I currently engage in the, for example, the esports accessibility and also the sports training accessibility. The first one, esports accessibility, we are currently engaged in the creation with the visually impaired people. At that time, our collaborator with total blindness creates a tool to develop the maps and also the codes. And by using such a kind of tool, not only the sighted but also the blind people can create the games or any kinds of applications. And on that, and in contrast to the sports, we created a virtual reality-based sports training technologies that is mainly for the goalball, one of the sports for the visually impaired people. Also, and any kind of acoustical, I can remember, sound table tennis, and also a blind soccer. Such a kind of virtual reality-based technologies, such a kind of blind people can practice without going to the exercise field and only to the practice, only listening in their home. Yeah, that's all.
Very good, very good. Greg, did you have a comment to that? Or what I'd like to hear is, especially because having attended your online conference last year with Vint Cerf and hosted, a lot came out of that between what mainstream technology and emerging technology is there, and how does that mirror the path of where we are with, as users, and our colleagues in the community of people with disabilities. Maybe you could talk about some of those things and some of the challenges.
Yes, and for those who are interested, the whole conference, if you go to futureofinterface.org, the whole conference you're referring to, the workshop, is online, so they can actually see this. We are on the cusp of like a sea change in what's going to be possible. And we as a disability community and disability researchers are completely and totally unprepared for it. We are going to, cognitive language and learning, for example, deaf, blind, people who are blind and also have a cognitive disability. I mean, we have great solutions for bright people who are blind who can deal with technology. But if you are blind and you also have trouble with technology and you can't use a screen reader, what do we have for you? And the cognitive language and learning. With AI, with machine vision, with the different things we have, we are going to have the ability in the next 10, 20 years to be able to create a hyper interface, ultra personalized interface, if you will, so that each interface can be tuned specifically to an individual. So I pose the following question. If you're going to try to create an interface that worked for the thermostat and the microwave, and which people can't even figure out these days, et cetera, for somebody with a cognitive language and learning disability, but take somebody that's not at the top, it's in the middle, mid-low, exactly what should that interface look like? And we have all sorts of general comments. Oh, it should be simpler. What do you mean by simpler? Exactly. Take this person right here, give me show me how this person is going to, how are they going to access HBO Max or I don't want to pick any one of them, so I could say Apple TV, HBO, Prime Video, I'll name a bunch. We get lost in them, okay? So how are other people? How about older people who every time you turn around, they change them, and we get lost again? Well, we who are at the top of technology get lost. Other people, they just plain, fall off the wagon. We will be able to design things for them, but show me them. And you can't say, well, AI will do it, because AI will work if you have a whole bunch of examples. We have none. So we talk about it all. We need to start going back and doing our homework and doing individual designs and figuring out how to actually design for all these people that we keep claiming are underserved, and yet we don't actually know how to solve them.
So that kind of falls back to what Klaus was talking about, just in terms of personalization at that level. But we're talking a lot about AI here and its role in the emergence of accessibility and the future of accessibility and some of the activities that all four of you have been on. But is there something more? Is there something beyond AI? Is there something else other than AI that we should be looking at that can kind of contribute to this digital ecosystem that needs to be usable, accessible, and now, as Dr. Trevianis brought out last fall, equitable right? So that individuals with disabilities are not, there's no bias there. They're not edged out of what we're developing and designing. Klaus?
I think first we should understand AI as a tool. AI is not a solution, is not the magic hand. AI is a new approach to develop technologies, algorithms, and finding solutions based on data. And so to say what Greg said, what I fully support is what we need first, where we can use AI, is to develop the language which allows us to communicate with end users and which allows end users to communicate with us. When we found wonderful ways for blind visually handicapped, we see progress as described in terms of sign language integration and so on. We have other groups, and in particular, cognitive. We're always at the high end, that's right. How can we communicate, understand to each other? They don't understand us. They don't understand the technology, and we don't understand their needs yet. And overcoming these communication barriers is the first step for defining the requirements, finding the profiles, and doing proper development of solutions.
Interesting. So one of the things that was listed here, and if I'm wrong, just, if I'm going off the wrong path here, that was listed here is the future of assistive technology is going to involve training and education at that level. Is that something that we need to work with in terms of individuals with disabilities or otherwise, and how do we go beyond the systems of education that we have in place today? Greg?
We can't teach what we don't know. Okay, so a key that you hear in all these is you keep hearing the consumers and the consumer involvement. We need to go back and do a whole bunch more of just one-on-one work with all of the different disability groups and the individuals that we currently have no solution for. Mm-hmm. And we need to be learning. We can't teach. Also, you talked about AI and beyond AI. When the PC came out, it didn't solve problems, but it gave a tool that people could use to create solutions. When the web came out, it didn't solve problems, but it gave a tool for information to get out to people who didn't have access to information. Think of AI like computer code. Computer code doesn't do anything, but with it you can write things. And so AI is a new tool that we can use to create solutions, but it's not going to solve them for us. And so we need to figure out what it is that we're going to be doing with it. And as I said before, AI looks at all the solutions and then it can tell you back our own information. But it can't tell us stuff that we don't yet know how to do and that it has seen no solutions for. And so I'm still worried about all of the people today for which do not have access, and we're not working with them because they're all out on the fringes and they're really hard. So we need a whole lot of one-on-one work to learn before we can try to teach AI or each other.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I remember a friend of mine that was involved in game development for individuals with disabilities, but particularly those with visual disabilities. And he kept referring to reaching or getting to the BV outs, the blind, low vision individuals who are outside of the regular circles, those individuals who are not exposed to technologies that otherwise would help them or assist them. Okay, so these are all very interesting things that we need to be thinking about. What are the barriers to getting these things done today? Takahiro, and you're probably going to be speaking from your area, Japan, and what kind of barriers you have, which are likely different than what Raj is dealing with on his end, or we're dealing over here, and Klaus is in Austria. So what are the barriers that you see today?
Currently, there is a barrier about the two barriers. First one is a common barrier for any other categories, like the visually impaired people, hearing impaired people. So big categories barrier. And the second one is the personalization barrier. Particularly for getting the personalized data, this is any kind of big problem. And also how to learn such a kind of personalized data. And according to the MIT, the professor, I can't remember the name, her research project is about the human-robot interaction. The successful personalized system can enhance the children's study, but in successful the robotics, not motivate such kind of children. So, so we should think of what should we learn to the model, and also what should not we think of as the models. I think this is my answer. It's okay.
Very good. Yeah, thank you. Raj, on your end, what do you see as the barriers that especially as you relate to captioning and AI involvement at that level and performance for individuals with hearing disabilities?
So every new technology or new AI brings a new way of access, a potential access. It's continuing to work with people with disabilities and people without disabilities to work together. So everyone has access from the start. Currently, AI can create a picture from words, a picture, a description of words. But oftentimes, the picture created does not have an image description built in, which is kind of ironic. For example, you tell it to make a picture of a stop sign, and then ask for the image description again, and what it says, the image that you just created, it's a two-step process. Why don't you just make it a one-step and build it in? And then you have captioning, but the sound awareness isn't there yet. So I'd like to have an immediate access from the start. I would like to go back a moment, just like in the past, when computers recognize words when you type them, and blind people had access. And then they added a GUI, user interface. And then they lost all access and went back to the Dark Ages. And then back in the 1920s, deaf people used to watch silent films. There was no audio. So deaf people enjoyed watching film. The movies had the title card and then the words on it and the action, and then they had a lot of interactive reciprocity, and then the invention of sound in movies, and they lost access. And back then, they were not including people with disabilities to develop that. So for 50 years, there were no movies with captions. We don't want that to happen again. And I'm happy to see that we're partners like this, that we make sure when there is a new technology rolling out that we automatically have access built in.
I couldn't help but think this is kind of a play on Back to the Future, right? We got to go back and learn from how we had systems, whatever the interface was, that actually worked for individuals with disabilities before we decided to bring in talkie movies, right, when they're there, or before NCSA decided to create the Mosaic browser, and now we've got graphical user interfaces and things along those lines. So that's an interesting. It's almost like we haven't learned from the past when we should be, and that's really, in order to move forward, you learn from the past, you learn based on experience, but we really haven't done that well, and that's really something we need to improve on. Greg?
Just a quick example, one of my colleagues, Baron Jordan, talks about this. Some people don't have depth perception. They don't have it, they're either eye tracking or they only have one eye, and it's never been a problem. No, we're now introducing all these virtual interfaces and stuff, and pretty soon we're going to have to add a new thing that says you can't have it depend on depth perception alone. And we're actually, as we move forward, we're going to be creating a disability that we didn't have before by designing things that now depend on one more thing that our old interfaces didn't depend on.
That is, man, that is such a great point. I mean, we're moving full speed ahead, never mind AI, but we're talking about extended reality and augmented reality and virtual reality, you know, and mixed reality, and all of those new emerging technologies functionally just add more layers of complexity for, never mind those without disabilities, certainly those with disabilities. I hadn't even thought about the depth perception idea. Yeah, excellent point. Klaus, please.
I want to go back to what you said before in terms of teaching education. Leave nobody behind. I think much more people with disabilities want to follow and take up technology, but there is a large group, and even not the largest group, their ecosystem is based on personal support, personal assistance. Whom do we train? We train the end users, who we talk about, but we don't train the ecosystem, that they would take it up. I think there is a strong need to take all these ecosystems with us, that they take up the chances, learn to use them, and allow the end users to gain more independence together, because this is not the same situation as we think we take a technology and use it. It has to be the personal assistant with the end user, the environment, and they learn to develop socio-technical solutions.
Yeah, excellent. Now, I'm going to tell you something that I know we're all familiar with, but it's something that I'd like to see get a better understanding, more clear understanding of what's out there in general. So we're all involved in research and design and development for people with disabilities. And we all know that we can't design those kind of systems without inclusion, right? Without including those demographics. And Greg, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of the communities of people with disabilities who typically are not associated or not brought into that. So are you seeing in the labs more inclusion or less inclusion, or just is it just like I see a lot of ignorance, frankly speaking? They're designing for, it's the ableism notion, right? They're designing for people who are quote unquote able-bodied, and they're really not taking into consideration the deaf, the blind, low vision, et cetera. Greg?
Yeah, I'm going to actually say that we're seeing more inclusion, but we're including able-bodied individuals with disabilities. All of the people that, you look at the companies, they're going to hire somebody, and you say, well, you want to hire people with disabilities. So they hire bright blind people, bright deaf people, right? And these are people that already have been fully accomplished, they know how to do it. And what are we designing? We're designing solutions that work for bright
Power
blind
users,
people,
right? Yeah.
bright deaf people, even ourselves, our colleagues, you know. Well, by the time you get to be up in colleagues where we see, we need to get out of our, and you said it before, out of our circle. We need to be working with all of the people we don't talk to. We need to be working with the people who we can't find. We need to go talk to the people who don't want to talk to us. They're afraid to talk to us because we're technical and they're non-technical. We need to figure out how to create things that work for all the people who are running away from technology and researchers and everything to do with it. Because we are now creating a world which is more inclusive, but more inclusive for
A small population of people, the reality.
the more able-bodied people with disabilities.
Yeah.
And also, we complain that we do, everything's designed for the most, okay? And we do the same thing. We design things for where's the market? For the product that the most blind people can
Right.
use. But how about the people on the edge? Well, that's not a market. We can't design for them. And that's where we are. And
Yeah, exactly.
I want to just inject one thing, and that is that we are very close to the ability over the next 10 years to be able to have something that I would call an Infobot IUIG approach. And what I mean by that is you can have something that you would aim at a thermostat, a microwave, any television thing, and it would understand it. And then on the back of it, we have an individual user interface generator that will generate an individual interface, the interface for this one person that they can understand, okay? And so now instead of having 5% of products be accessible, 100%, because this thing can understand anything that a 50th percentile human could do. And then the back end is designed to be specifically for each kind of person. And here's again, we will be there, but will we know how to design for this person? And again, I'm not worried about the bright individual who's blind, because if somebody immediately will glom on and create that one. But we need to be going out, and so we need a whole bunch of researchers and funding for individual researchers and all these different, and this can be big universities and little universities. This can be the small university contribution. They go out and they find this one person and they just really figure out what works for them and they document it. And we start accumulating those, because we're not going to be able to make these individual interfaces that work for all of the people until we can get out of just working on the best ones.
We're definitely going to have a conversation about this later on, because you are dangerously close to Jacob Nielsen's prediction of using AI to generate user-personalized interfaces.
I want to write one sentence on that.
Go ahead. I'm going to listen.
Jacob, he is right about the fact that we've gotten a lot of progress and we've gotten all the way up to 5% from 0. That's an infinite, okay? But we need to get to 99%, not 5. So he's right on the fact that he says we failed. Well, we haven't failed. We just haven't gotten anywhere near as far as we need to. So that's the first one. The second one is he's saying that companies are going to make their product with an AI that's going to do this, and I don't think that can happen. So, but if we let the companies design their interface, which they're going to do, and then we pick up from that, and then we do the second half. So he's got the right, but he's looking at it, I think, in a way that's not really looking at it as the way corporations work.
Thank you very much for answering that, because this is definitely the big discussion out of the web amongst all of us. I'm down to just a few more minutes, and I want to make sure I get everybody's last thoughts. So, Raj, can I start with you? Concluding thoughts, a recommendation, something that really gets you up in the morning, Perky, because you're on the cusp of discovering something new and releasing it or unleashing it out on the world.
Yeah.
Raj first, I'm sorry, and then Takahiro.
AI is a big, exciting impact, but there's still a lot of questions with it. Both people with and without disabilities need to make sure there's always access from the beginning. I have an app designed with hearing and deaf individuals together regarding informed consent concurrently from the patient and the medical setting. So that's what I'm throwing out there.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Raj. Takahiro, please.
Thank you. Yes, AI have so many and much amount of the possibility to use as accessibility content context, and but we think of what to use and what to get the data and what to learn for such a kind of AIs. For example, we should think of the multimodal data and also the time series data. And at that time, time series data should be divided into what kind of the time scale. Yes, so of course, such a kind of AI technology is wonderful, but we should think of the resolution to use such a kind of AI technology. So when we implement the general AIs, general and generative AIs, we should think of so much amount of the effort to use such a kind of AIs for example, the acquisition of data and the acquisition of the personal data, and also the acquisition of the personal experience and so on. Such a kind of accumulation should be create such a kind of next AI technology, I think. That's all.
Very good. Thank you, Takahiro. Greg, please.
I'm going to pass my time to Klaus, because I just spoke a minute ago. Klaus?
Sounds like one
Thank you very
of the U.S. Senator things. I'm going to give my time off to the good senator over to my left.
Poor Klaus, thank you very much. What makes me work in the morning is, and what we try to do in the morning is exactly these groups where nobody go. With students, we go out to organizations with people with very complex disabilities, multiple disabilities, vision, motor, and in particular cognition. And here is not the question what technology they want or whatever, establish the basic potential of communication, because they cannot express themselves and the environment does not understand them. And we want to use AI. Is AI able to understand based on a stimulus what a certain reaction is, that the first steps of communication are set up? And to allow them in a very small scale to express themselves and give some quality of life. And this is what makes me work every day in the morning. And I'm fascinated what we see already, what steps this provides to them, what never was possible, but AI-based technologies allow us to develop a profile, what they understand, and how they can express them, not with words. It might be reactions, it might be a sensor which we have or whatever, but we get a distinct answer from them, and that's fascinating.
Awesome. Go ahead, Greg, please.
I was just, what gets me up in the morning is all of the people we have not yet reached at all.
No, that's very powerful. It's more profound than perhaps we're really thinking about. It is those outside individuals whose daily lives are affected by the fact that we haven't come up with solutions that work for them. We haven't adapted to them and helped them through it. So it's been a great privilege of mine to be here with all four of you. I stole this one session today from Dave, my co-host, along with it. I got to meet with these guys and talk about that. There's still so many other areas I know that we didn't get to really touch on, but we want to all thank you very much for your research, for getting up in the morning and knowing that we've got something else to live for and to tackle in terms of next generation AT. Thank you. Let's give them a good applause.